Welcome everyone. Thank you for joining us today. Let's begin our session with a wonderful quote. The art of communication is a masterpiece crafted through the threads of empathy, active listening, and clear expression, weaving connections that resonate in the hearts of others. Green evening, everyone. To start a new chapter of learning, I, Anvesha Gupta, being your host for today's event, want to extend a warm greeting to all of you present here. I hope you all are doing amazing. On behalf of the whole SEMS family, I welcome you all for today's international webinar on the topic Art of Communication, some tips to master it. Now, let me introduce today's speaker to you all, Miss Smita Mittal. With a keen and intuitive insight into human behavior, she has honed her skills with 28 years of diverse experience in the field of education in India and abroad. She is a TLC accredited and certified relationships coach. She is a certified master coach in neurolinguistic programming and re-imprinting of subconscious. She has coached and trained more than 3,500 teachers, executives, and professionals. It is a great honor to have you with us, ma'am. We are grateful for your presence.
Thank you, Anvesha. And I really appreciate all of you to take time out on Friday evening to come and attend this webinar, this session. All of
Thank you.
You're most welcome.
Thank you,
All
ma'am.
of all of us develop, as Anvesha has quoted that lovely quote. Com- all of us develop our relationships through communication. Some relationships we get by blood, by birth, without any contribution of ours. We get born into a family, but a lot of our relationships are acquired relationships in our life. How many of you agree with me?
Yes, ma'am.
And please, friends, I keep the chat box buzzing, otherwise, it becomes very monotonous. After all, we are talking about communication, and communication is art of speaking and listening. So, I will, it is about communication, not about talking. So, if you really want to learn, understand the art of communication, you have to be very active on chat box. So now that the rules of the session are set and understood by everyone, let me start the session. It's a pleasure to be with you all this evening. As Anvesha has told, I have total 31 years of experience in the field of education and counseling. I'm a certified master coach in neuro linguistic programming. You know, if you are aware of neuro linguistic programming, like computer has a software, in the same way, our mind also has a software which is called neuro linguistic programming. I'm author of a book that you can see in my background, Living Through Relationships, Destiny of Free Will. I have co-authored two more books, Empower Your Growth and 75 top-notch management activities. I have worked with State Ministry of Tribal Welfare, Maharashtra, to train teachers in Yavatmal district, where I have trained more than 2,300 teachers of Yavatmal district and many more in Maharashtra and otherwise in other cities outside that. And I'm associated with Bridge IT Corporation Ghana in association with IIT Powai. I'm on a speakers panel of GRC Educators Houston, USA. And very recently, I got on the panel of IIT Roorkee Alumni Association, where they are starting their new venture. So, all of you feel free to contact me at Smita Mittal 30. So, sorry, 30 is not written, it's not a right this thing. Smita Mittal 30 at the rate gmail.com. Now, tell me one thing. Do you experience that despite good intentions, your relationships are not as good as you want them to be? Please write yes or no in the chat box. Have you ever experienced that you also had shared the same idea in a meeting or in a group, but the credit has gone to the other person? How many of you have experienced this? Please write in chat box. Yes, Siddhi says yes, and Vesha says yes. Surya Sharma, yes. So, why do you think it has happened? Is it because the other person liked the person whose idea got accepted very much, or you were not able to share your idea with the conviction, confidence, and clarity? What is your opinion? You agree that the other person, because if other person liked, then you had no control over the situation. But if the other person, your idea was not accepted, it was because you could not present it with conviction, confidence, and clarity, then it is something that we can work upon. Then we have to look within. How many of you agree with me that there is always a scope to work within? Why were you not able to present your idea with conviction, confidence, or clarity? Because you were not sure of yourself. You were thinking, so many times it happens when it is a group meeting or a big meeting, that what if people say that I'm trying to achieve or go beyond myself? How will other people think of me? Will they accept my idea? Is it a good idea? Why not keep quiet? What will other people think if I, speak? Will I be speaking out of turn? So we suffer through all these doubts, these self doubts. Why we suffer through all these self doubts? Because, okay, tell me one thing. Who is the person who is closest to you? I want this answer from everyone. Please quickly write. Who is the person who is closest to you? Quickly, just write. Okay. Anvesha says, my mother. Who else? Please, friends, keep the chat box buzzing. Close friend, okay? And please write it to everyone, not directly to me only. My mother, myself, who else? Okay. So all of you definitely need to work upon your communication skills. This one thing is very sure, very clear. My elder sister Madhu says, is it Madhu? Am I reading it right? Or MDKHU? So I think only Trisha has said myself only. The closest person is you, on who allows you, who encourages you, uh, who propels you to develop relationships with others. It is you. So the closest you have to be is with yourself. Unless until you know who you are, how can you develop your relationships with others? How can you communicate with authority, with conviction, with confidence? If I don't know who am I, what my beliefs are, what my values are, if I myself am not convinced with these things, how can I convince others? How can I present my ideas that are based on my values, my beliefs, my way of thinking? So the most important thing is to know yourself, to make your communication better. Know yourself better so that you can communicate better. That is the first thing that we should be doing. Now, what is relationship? Relationship is your intention, connection, interaction with a person, people, object, place, or an idea. Now, all this comes out better, as I have already shared, only when you are very clear of your intention, what kind of connection you want to develop with other person, and that depends how you are going to interact with those people, about a person, people, object, place, or an idea. Because all our communication is based on our intention, what intention we have to connect with that person, and depending on that, we use the style. Like, all of you will agree that the way you talk to your friends, you will not talk to your boss. The way you talk to your sibling, you will not talk to your parents, definitely not father or mother. So our intention is very, very important to set our style of communication. And that intention we will get to know only when we are very clear about ourselves, what we are thinking, why we are thinking. So, this is the first thing that we should be very clear. And the magic word with which we connect with others is the communication. And we communicate. Why we communicate? We communicate to connect, to get noticed, to express our emotions, whether it is love, anger, hatred, acceptance. We communicate to share our thoughts, our ideas, and to be accepted in the company, and many more things. And depending on that, we use the communication style. So now that what is communication and why we communicate is very clear, we can move forward that how we communicate, what all is are the tools through which we communicate. We communicate through words. Obviously, we communicate through words. But are words the only thing? There is tone also. Tone is very powerful. Like, if we do the simple exercise right now, uh, suppose it's a simple word. Aye, aye, बैठिए. Come, sit. come, take your place. Simple thing. Come, take your place. One is when we are happy to greet someone, oh, come, take your place. When we are not bothered, come, take your place. When we don't like the person and the person has come, then come, take your place. Words remain the same, but the tone has conveyed a different meaning. So we always should be very clear about and very careful about the tone that we are using to communicate and the pitch. Like when two friends are have met after a long time. How the pitch goes high. Wow, where were you? We are not shouting, but the pitch is high. When you go to a wedding, everybody is talking on high pitch because everybody is excited. So pitch indicates our excitement, our emotions, or and when we are in a place where everybody is sad, then our pitch is very low. Everybody is almost whispering. So the pitch is another tool that we use to convey our emotions and communication. Volume. When people are fighting, not only their pitch is high, their volume is also very high. So volume is another thing that we use to communicate. And when two people are, you see any two partners who are loving each other, who are in love with each other, the person sitting next to them will not be able to hear what they are conversing, what they are communicating to each other, because at that time their volume is so low, they don't need to shout and convey to communicate their emotions to each other. So volume is another tool that we use in communication. Then expressions, obviously, that is another very strong tool. And body language. Body languages, our gestures and our expressions come in the are part of body language. As per Mehrabian model of communication, you'll be surprised to know that only 7% of the words matter in our communication. Only 7%. When we are writing, yes, but in writing also tone matters, the flow of language matters, how we are using the words that matter. Styling is becomes very important. But when we are in verbal communication, only 7% of the words matter. 38% of our communication depends on the tone of the voice, which includes pitch and volume. So 38% of our communication is conveyed through the tone of voice, and 55% is through our body language. So pay attention to our body language. Like right now, we are it is session on communication, and just to communicate this to you, suppose I sit like this. Now you can't see me completely, but suppose I sit like this and I communicate. Okay, 7% is communicated by words, 38% tone. Do you like it? Did you like it? Can you tell me in chat box? Can you tell me in chat box? Please, friends, if you want it to be interactive, please keep it interactive. Otherwise, it will be very, very boring for me. Thank you, Mr. Rawat. Really appreciate. Please, friends, keep it interactive. Otherwise, it will be very boring. I have not come here to give you a lecture. Even my classes used to be more interactive. So let's go move forward. We use all the above mentioned tools in the cycle of communication. These are the tools. Okay, now we know what is communication, why we communicate, and the tools of communication. But how we use these tools in communication, how actually communication happens, we must be very, very clear about it. Once we are clear about it, definitely I'm 100% sure it will be very good for it. What is cycle of communication? Cycle of communication is like right now what is happening. I am the sender. I had something in my mind about that. All right, I have to talk on art of communication, and I have to give some tips to master it. So I encoded the message in my mind, in my style. That is called encoding. After I encoded it, message was created and the channel was set, and this is the channel. The Zoom meeting is the channel of this encoding. Now, and that encoded message on this channel is passed on to the receiver. Who is the receiver? You all are the receiver. Whatever I had encoded, that encoded message you received, and now you are decoding it. As simple as that. Now you are decoding it. How do I know that whatever I had encoded? Mr. Salvio, will you please close your mic? I will really appreciate. Mr. Salvio, can you mute your mic? Anvesha, can you mute him? Thank you. Thank you, Anvesha. So I, as a sender, had encoded the message and conveyed it on the Zoom channel to you, the receiver, and now you are decoding it. What does decoding mean? You are your mind is deciphering it and understanding it. The same message if you really could talk and if you really could keep the chat box buzzing, you would have been able to appreciate that everything would have been understood in a different manner by all the participants as per their understanding. So that is why feedback is very important for the sender. That are all my receivers decoding the message the way I wanted them to? That is why I am requesting all of you to keep the chat box buzzing so that we are on the same platform. It should not happen that somebody is here and somebody is there and somebody is somewhere else. Otherwise, the whole idea of having a session on communication would in a way fail. So it is very, very important to keep the chat box buzzing. So are you all with me? Have all of you understood the cycle of communication? Trisha is facing some technical glitches. Okay. Yeah, Trisha, please continue to send it directly. So has everybody understood the cycle of communication?
Yes, ma'am.
Thank you. So we can move forward. Now, the cycle of communication is uh, standing on three pillars of effective communication. And that is, what are these three pillars? Ethos, pathos, and logos. Ethos is ethics, trustworthiness. Ethics is like, we are communicating here. Everybody has come from different backgrounds. So, what is the safest way of communication for me so that everybody remains connected? That I use common language. If everybody is understanding English, then I should use English. If anybody has not been able to understand English, then that person should have told me in the beginning so that I would have used Hindi as well, because these are the only two languages I know. So, ethic is that I keep the ethics. I use the cultural etiquettes in place. My language is proper so that it generates trust in my audience. Pathos is empathy. Communication is not only talking. What right now is happening is not communication. It is only I am talking. It is like conducting a class. Only I am talking. Rest of you are just listening to me. Okay, Siddhi, I will explain it to you later by what is the meaning of decoding. Any other? So then, pathos is empathy. Empathy happens when I am empathetic. I can connect. I can empathize with my listeners, with other person. And how can I empathize? Only when I listen to them. If I will not listen to them, I will not be able to. Mr. Hitesh Kumar Sharma, do you want to say something? Do you want to share? हितेश जी आप कुछ शेयर करना चाहते हैं? Can you please mute your mic? Digi Saksham team, can you help in muting Mr. Sharma's mic?
Sure, ma'am.
Thank
Doing,
you,
ma'am.
Abhishek.
Doing, ma'am. Sure, ma'am. Doing.
Thank you. So pathos is empathy. It happens only when I as a speaker am listening to other person and understanding what the other person is thinking, believing, is having problems, so that I can empathize with him and build upon the trust. And logos is logic. If I don't talk logically, would you like it? If my presentation, my chat, this presentation on communication is not logical, you are not learning anything new from it. Will you like it? Please tell me in the chat box. Would you like to write? Because why have you otherwise it will be waste of time for you if you are not learning something new, if you are not finding the value of your time, it will be you will not like it. So whatever this communication happens, whenever we are communicating, it should be logical, it should be ethical, it should be empathetic. It should not be that I come You, as a communicator, you come and you just present your views and you go away. It is not a communication. It is giving notice, telling other person what to do. In communication, it's a two-way cycle. One person speaks, other person listens. When the listener speaks, the speaker listens. So it's a complete cycle which goes on. So we should be very clear that when we are using the cycle of communication, we we should understand that that cycle of communication is standing on its three pillars. They are ethos, pathos, and logos. We should not take them lightly, and whatever we are saying, it should make logical sense. We should not speak for the sake of speaking. Whatever we are saying, we should be able to back it up with solid logic. It should not be, oh, I want to do it like this, so I'm saying it like this. That will not be accepted, and it will not take you far, and it will not be part of effective communication. Effective communication is when people listen to you, when they listen to you and they want to listen to you because you talk sense. So, to keep your communication effective, follow the rules of communication, understand how the communication is happening, understand the cycle of communication and the pillars of communication. Now, to take our thing forward, after now we have understood why we communicate, why communication is important. We have understood what is communication. We have understood part of how communication takes place. Now comes a very interesting part, approach to communication, because on this approach, relationships get developed, your work gets done. It all depends on how you are approaching your communication. Okay, you have decided very well, okay, this is the reason, this is how I will speak. But what is your approach? We will learn in this segment. So as Anvesha has said, I'll be taking question answers at the end. But if there is any question, please keep it in mind so that I can take it at the end of the session. First approach, which is very, very important, is ask, not assume. Lot of us, we are very good with very good intentions, but we make the mistake. We assume. We assume about the other person. That assumption can come through our ego. Oh, I know all. I know what is happening around me. I know everyone. So, okay, I know how this person will be thinking. So, a lot of assumption comes from there. Sometimes assumption comes because you believe that you know the person well, but you forget, we forget that as with every new experience, I'm learning something new, I'm growing. Other person is also going through the same cycle. Other person is also having new experiences and new growth. Maybe the person has changed. Maybe his belief has changed with some other new experience. Maybe, and I hope to believe that after today's session, your communication style will change. It will be more effective. It will be more positive. It will be more fruitful. It will be more focused. So instead of assuming, always ask, why have you done this? Don't assume, oh, you are a very careless person. No wonder you have done this. Ask, how come this happened? Why did it? How did it happen? What happened? Just asking just simple question will do two things. It might save you from embarrassment of assuming something wrong, and on the positive side, it will develop a positive relationship with your with the other person. We a lot of us, make the same mistake, especially parent-child relationship, boss-subordinate relationships. We always assume, we always feel that this subordinate is of no good use, so he'll make the mistake. Maybe the mistake was made by some other person. Maybe it was not in his control. Maybe he tried to do the damage control. But we don't like to think like that. We don't like to believe positively. Our natural instinct is to think negatively about others. So we don't feel like asking. We just feel very happy in assuming. So first approach of any communication is ask, not assume. Tell me one thing. How many of you have done this in your communication? You have assumed and then later on, yes, Ishita, we even assume in friendships. Sometimes we assume that we are friends. We don't only assume in friendships, sometimes we assume that we are friends. So, how many of you, yes, sometimes Tanu says yes. In fact, people who are answering are more honest. I believe all of us have done that done this sometime or the other. Some people do it more regularly, some people do it sometimes. Now, the second approach that all of us should keep in mind is care, not crush. This happens in very close relationships. Surprising. Out of love, we do this. I have seen parents doing this for their children. They care for their children so much that before the child could say anything, they provide it. I have seen it in partnerships also. Before the other partner could, express the desire, it's there in the name of, oh, I care for you so much. And assumption, that is where again the assumption is playing the role. And in the process, what happens? You crush the individuality of others under the garb of keeping the person protected, under the garb of loving that person too much. You do not allow that person to venture out, to express himself or herself. Thank you. And in the process, that person's individuality gets crushed. His uh, his capability of ideating, his capability of expressing himself or herself gets crushed. So care, yes, care for the person, but up to a point when the person asks for it. One, we should be proactive, but not to the extent where we crush the individuality or the identity of the other person. Sometimes I have seen some senior couples meaning some old couples or some couples in their 40s come to me where the wife has a complaint that wife is not even able to speak. Wife says that we go to a doctor and my husband does all the talking, like telling about my sickness. Husband believes that he knows his wife so well that he is in a hurry that the doctor should cure his wife immediately. And in the process, it does not give chance to his wife to express her problems. And after some time, over a period of time, the wife just decides to keep quiet. She is having fever. They go to a doctor. Doctor is asking her, okay, what is your problem? And wife is looking at her husband to tell because she knows she won't be allowed to speak. So don't care for a person to that extent where you crush the individuality or the personality or the identity of the person. Communicate in a way that person feels supported, not crushed. Communicate your love. There are 10 other ways, positive ways to communicate your love, your care, your support. So take care of this that you do it in a positive manner. Now, another point is sorry, be curious, not critical. Like ask, not assume. In the same way, we very rarely show curiosity. We are very eager to be critical of other person's action. We do not wait to ask that. Okay, we do not wait to express our curiosity. That okay, why? Okay, why did you do it? How did it happen? How could you? How did you achieve this? Like a simple thing, if I can give you the example, a test has happened. The child gives the test, comes home. One curiosity, how did the paper go? Child is keeping quiet. I told you, you were not paying attention yesterday. You were watching TV. Must be, up in front of computer. You must be playing on your computer, pretending to be studying. You did not, but the child was keeping quiet because his friend had got hurt. He was more concerned about his friend than about his paper. We did not show the curiosity, we just jumped and started criticizing, and critical analysis got started. The same thing happens in the boss subordinate relationship also. The moment, suppose a marketing team has been given some deadline, some target, so boss will not ask whether you have been able to achieve the target or not. Have you achieved the target? Why not? You people must be wasting your time going here and there instead of focusing on the customers. So he immediately jumps to the conclusion. So stop jumping to the conclusion. Show curiosity. This curiosity will connect you with the other person. That other person will share his reasons of doing very well or not being able to do well. Give him a chance. Give them a chance to express themselves. Show your curiosity instead of just jumping into being a critical person. And the last thing is connect before you correct, which is very, very important. this happens all in all the relationship across the board. You can correct a person only if you connect with the person. Only if the person feels connected with you, that person will listen to your correction, your advice. If the person is not feeling connected with you, that person will not listen to your good advice, and both will lose. That a person will lose the chance to improve himself or herself, and sorry, and you might lose a very good worker otherwise. So whenever we are communicating, we should always remember to connect before we correct, whether it is in parent child relationship, whether it is in partners relationship, whether it is friends, between friends. And friends are a very, we a very close relationship, but in that relationship also there are boundaries. You can't cross a certain boundary. If you want to cross that boundary, you have to have a solid connection, otherwise you will be rebuffed. So connecting with other person, connecting with your team, like if you're working in office, you're working in a team, and you are seeing that, okay, this is where we are going wrong, and without connecting with your team members, being a part of that team, you just start telling them we are doing this wrong, we are doing that wrong. They will not listen to you, even if you know what you are talking is said. So before being heard, you have to connect with your audience. Audience may resist, but that is where your patience comes in. Be patient, keep on working at it till your audience connect with you, and then you start correcting them, and it will go a longer way. You will do much better that way. So, if do you agree with me? Can you tell me? Have
Yes,
you?
ma'am.
Thank you, Mr. Rawat. Your name reminds me of a very famous Chief Minister of Uttarakhand, Harish Rawat. So take care, be happy, communicate effectively. I say thank you to you. That is all from my side. If anybody wants to have any question, anything, please feel free.
Thank you, ma'am. Wow, what a wonderful knowledge given by you, ma'am. I hope our audience learned many new things from this session. Now, I would like to highlight some of the points like the cycle of communication, three pillars of effective communication, approach to healthy communication, and all. It was very effective for our audience, and thank you very much, ma'am.
You're most welcome. I would really have appreciated if people would have been more interactive. We could have learned much more because
Yeah,
what speaker also gets the energy from audience. If
of
audience
course.
are not participative, then the speaker also loses the energy.
Yes, ma'am.
So
I hope next time we will make more better. The audience will be more better.
they will be.
By the way, thank you so much, ma'am, for your precious time and all sharing knowledge with us.
Thank you. Is there any question? Ishita is saying, ma'am, because I brainstorm a lot. Matlab, sorry, I didn't get it, Ishita.
Firstly, very good evening, ma'am.
Good evening, Ishita.
Ma'am, thank you so much. Because of you, lots of things are cleared in front of me. Because of this
My
session, you interacted a lot with us and lots of things. As ma'am, just now I'm a final year student.
of
BCA, Bachelor's of Computer Application. So,
okay.
ma'am, I joined this internship to learn marketing because nowadays, ma'am, skills are more important as we compare to a piece of paper like
Very,
a degree. So,
very,
ma'am, today when I listen to you in this session, lots of things are cleared, and I recalled what mistakes while communicating with people or with anyone I had done in these years of my life from school to college.
I'm so happy that you got that clarity. If you want to have more clarity, see, communication is such a huge area of learning that in 1 hour, in 45 minutes, I could barely scratch the surface. If you really want to know more about it, connect with me directly and we can go much deeper into it.
Yes, ma'am. It really helped me a lot. Because, ma'am, I was an introvert person in my school life. I didn't even talk to the people who were living next door to me. And today, I'm attending your session, and lots of things in my life are clear that how much I had committed mistakes while doing the communication with anyone.
I'm so happy that you could reflect because reflection is another very, very important part of communication. As I emphasize on feedback, like towards the end, I lost my energy also because I was not getting the feedback.
Yes, ma'am. Ma'am, it
Yes,
happens so
ma'am.
because they only sometimes, ma'am, they switch on their microphone while doing the Zoom call or doing some other activity because they are not keeping their attention towards what you're saying. No.
Right. Okay. So I'm so happy, Ishita, that you got the clarity. Anyone else? Anyone else has any question?
Yes, ma'am.
Yes, Trisha?
Yeah, so ma'am, I'm Tisha. So I have one question.
Yes, please
My
go ahead.
question is one of the reasons not to communicate effectively is that we are afraid of what if it goes wrong or what if I am not able to pronounce it well out of the nervousness.
Right.
So, ma'am, what to do in this scenario?
Okay. The best answer is connect with me for the simple reason because it depends on your self-esteem. I do a course of polish the diamond within. In that course, uh, all of us have all the qualities, all the capabilities. God has seen so kind. He has given Mr. Shodinu, Abhishek, will you please mute the gentleman? Thank you so much. The most, God has been so kind to us that He has given all of us equal resources. The only thing is, some people have utilized those resources and some people have not. So, when you are saying when you are asking how to get over your nervousness, it is not, you don't have to work on your nervousness. You have to work on your confidence. The more confident you will become less nervous. Like if I can share my example with you, I have studied in convent school, but in tier B schools of UP. So imagine in late 60s and early 70s, all these convent schools in UP were all the subjects were taught to us in Hindi only because our teachers also could not speak good English. But the exams had to be given in English. So we would study even in English. Sometimes our teacher will teach us in Hindi, and but the exam will be has to be given in English. So I worked on myself, got over that weak point, and move forward. So we have to work on our confidence level. And the more we work on our confidence level, our self esteem, our belief system, our self belief that yes, I can do it, we will go ahead and do it. So don't worry about it. Work on yourself and you will reach wherever you want to reach. All the capabilities, all the resources are there in you. Nobody is holding you back but you yourself.
Thank you, ma'am, for your answer. I will really work upon it.
If you have any problem, any stumbling block you come across, connect with me. As I have given my email there, write an email and connect with me.
Sure, ma'am.
Okay, anyone else?
Ma'am, there are a few questions
Yes,
which our audience want to be answered.
yes, Sanvesha.
So the first question is, why is effective communication important in personal relationships?
Wow, you want a thesis and an answer?
Yes,
Uh,
ma'am.
okay, Anvesha is saying yes, so I have to give a thesis. Okay, see why effective communication is important in personal relationship is a lot of us tend to take our personal relationships for granted. We think, okay, parents, we are born to parents, so we do, मतलब ठीक है उनसे कैसे भी बात कर लो तो पेरेंट्स रहने ही वाले हैं माँ बाप भी बच्चों के लिए पेरेंट्स ऑल्सो थिंक द सेम वे husband and wife, okay, now we are married, we can talk to each other in any way, but that doesn't work. All of us, all individuals have their self respect, self esteem, self belief, their ego. So when we are communicating, so many times wife says that, oh, you don't love me, you don't take care of me. Whereas husband feels his whole day I am working so hard in the office. Why am I a fool? I'm working so hard only so that I can bring in more money. And why am I bringing more money? So that all of you can be very happy. But it is not that wife doesn't appreciate that the husband is working hard, but the wife wants something else from life apart from money. Maybe she wants more time. Maybe she wants a smile. Maybe she wants a hug, impromptu hug, not only at that time, but otherwise also. So, effective communication is must in our personal relationship. Children, parents, work so hard. They will provide each and everything to the child, and child still feels that I am alone. They are not there for me. Whereas both parents are working, going to office, working hard, bringing in more money, flooding the child with toys and outings and everything, and yet the child's basic needs are unfulfilled because quality time, quality communication is not taking place. So many times among friends, misunderstandings happen. Close friends, misunderstanding happens only because of lack of effective communication. We assume a lot of times that the person will understand. We forget that the way we are growing, other person is also growing. The way we are evolving, other person is also evolving. So we have to keep to be on the same platform. We have to work all the time, keep the communication going all the time. Show our curiosity. What is happening in your life? Don't take it for granted. So I hope this answers the question
Yes,
without
ma'am.
getting into thesis mode.
Ma'am, there's one more question.
Please go ahead.
What are the key elements of clear and concise expression in communication?
What are the key elements of care?
Clear and concise expression in communication.
Key elements of clear and concise expression and communication. Okay. It should be to the point. Clear and concise is like you should be aware of the person with whom you are talking to. What is your relationship with that person? Is that person your friend, your boss, your colleague, your subordinate, your family member, your life partner? You should be very clear about that.
Yes,
Once
ma'am.
that clarity of relationship is there, then you should be very clear what you want to convey to that person and why you want to convey to that person.
Yes.
Both the things should be very clear what you want to convey and why you want to convey. Once these two things are clear in your mind, sometimes we start a communication without having a very clear idea. We are very vague in our mind that I have to convey it to him. That person is getting out of hands. That person is taking too much of musty with me. I have to put him in his place. With that mindset, we address the communication. We start the communication. We ourselves are not clear what we want to convey, to what limit we have to convey. So, to be very clear and concise, we have to be very clear in our thinking how much we have to convey. What is our limit that we want to convey in this particular communication in this particular time, so that we don't jump the gun, unnecessarily cross the boundary line, speak more than we needed to, and spoil the whole situation. Am I clear? Or are you sure who had asked this question? If that person has understood, I'm happy. If not, I can explain it further. Any
I
other
hope
question?
I hope
Yes.
that that has understood the person, that a
Okay.
person has understood this answer.
Okay. Thank you. Anything else? Any other question?
Thank you, ma'am, for answering these questions. So again, thank you all for attending today's webinar. And if you have any additional questions, you can contact us by email or telephone. We are happy to provide additional support to you. Please follow us on your social media and subscribe YouTube channel for new learning. Stay connected to us for new learning. I, Anvisha Gupta, your host for the day, signing off. Have a wonderful day.
Thank you. Thank you. Thank you, everyone.